Thank you for pointing that out. All right, so what I want to do today is, because this is so information dense, if you were to go through and try to read it all and then interpret it, um, it's just like, it's overwhelming. When I look at it, I think it's just like overwhelming to look at. So what I'd like to do today is to show you a video that a lot of you have probably already seen this morning, but I actually thought it was a really good video because it really does answer these two, like what we'll call criterion B, inquiring and designing, and this other criterion C, processing and evaluating, which to me, when I just hear those words, it's like, oh, what's going on? So what I want to do is just turn these two things, these two criteria, into like just an easy way to understand it. So let me share this. So this is what I want you guys to look at or to think about as we watch this video, okay? So does the creator describe a problem or question to be tested by scientific explanation? All right, that's kind of like your criterion B. It's not exactly, they're not perfectly aligned, but I think that this is the easiest way to think about that question. And the other question I would like you to think about while you're watching, and this is kind of like criterion C in this case, does the creator present collected and transformed data? Okay, so think about those two questions. And first, let me ask you guys this, and I'm going to go back to the kind of grid view. Who saw that video this morning? Who saw the video and advisory this morning? Did you see which video it was? Sorry, let me just go back here.
Which one?
The one that's screen time, how much is too much? Who saw that this morning? I'm just going to go back to grid. Yeah, let me go back to grid.
We watched a different one.
You guys watched a different one.
We watched
All right, so check it out. What I would like to do, let's just think of those two questions as we watch. And then after we watch the video, like I'll just ask for what your general thoughts were, and then we'll kind of go more into the questioning. All right. All right, so just one more time before watching it, because I can't put both screens up. Does the creator describe a problem or a question to be tested by scientific explanation? And then the other question, does the creator present collected and transformed data? So let's keep those in mind as we watch this video. All right, so let me know if you can hear this okay.
Have you ever kept track of how much time you spend looking at a screen? Like actually logged what you're doing and for how long? Well, that's what I did over the last few days. And on an average day, I spent about an hour on Instagram, way too much time on Twitter, over 3 hours, and a little over an hour or so on Netflix. So in total, I'm spending over 5 hours every day in front of a screen. And that's not counting text messages or listening to music. That's literally a quarter of my day, every day. So what's all this screen time doing to me? Well, I asked what I always ask, Google. And the results fell into 2 buckets. The first bucket blamed smartphones, video games, and social media for increases in depression, anxiety, and even obesity. The second bucket said that screen use might help improve how we feel about ourselves by keeping us connected with people. So, what does the scientific research say? Is all this screen time really bad for us? Okay, first things first. Screen time as a term isn't that useful because it doesn't really tell you what you're doing on the screen. It's kind of like if someone asks you what you had for lunch and you say, food. That doesn't really provide any real info. And not all screen time is created equal. Context matters. Spending 4 hours creating a video for YouTube is way different than spending 4 hours watching cat videos. How you feel about and how you process each of those situations won't be the same. So lumping them under screen time doesn't make much sense. If researchers want to figure out what spending so much time on our screens is doing to us, they need to break down a few variables. What's the specific screen activity? Are we passively scrolling and looking at pictures? Or are we commenting and posting? How long and how often are we on the screen? Because there's so much to untangle, the research is kind of all over the place. You can find individual studies that support and contradict just about every conclusion linking screen time and health. To quote the director of the National Institutes of Health, the research is quite limited, has not been conclusive, and further study is needed. That's why it's crucial to look over a body of research to identify trends. All right, so let's get to it. Our digital lives can take a physical toll on us, and I'll be the first to admit, I'm usually on my phone right before I go to bed, even though multiple studies have shown that that leads to bad sleep. And we all know what can happen without enough sleep. Concentrating on things is hard, you can get irritable. I sort of walk around like a zombie, and sometimes me no make when I talk I. Sense? Hmm. And it's not just me. In 1991, 26% of teens were getting less than the doctor recommended 7 hours of sleep a night. Today, that number is over 40%. Now, that doesn't mean you can place the blame on screens, but that same study did find that teens who spent 5 hours a day online were 50% more likely to not sleep enough than those who only spent an hour online each day. I'm skeptical though. Who are those people that say they only spend an hour online a day, and why are they lying to researchers? Doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. Some researchers even use the term addiction when talking about how we interact with our devices. Whether it's video games or waiting for a like on an Instagram post, we get caught in short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops where we get a quick pleasure boost but then constantly crave the next one. Now, there's a lot of debate on whether or not this stuff is a bona fide addiction like gambling. And if you want to learn more about that, check out our video that looks into whether or not video game addiction is real. One study in 2017 found that the more time people spend in front of screens, the more it affected their well-being. Their chances of developing depression and suicidal thoughts went up. It was all the ammo the news media needed to fuel the panic about screen time. But that one study is just one study. Another group of researchers came along, looked at the same data and asked, is there really a link between screen time and depression? And if so, how strong is that link? They found that screen time is correlated with depression, but that correlation is really small. In fact, it was the same as eating potatoes regularly. The correlation between wearing glasses and depression was even stronger. And we're not seeing headlines warning about potatoes and glasses ruining an entire generation. So maybe screen time in general is less important than we think. The connection between screen time and health gets a little bit clearer when you look at how people are using their screens. It's not just about quantity, it's also about the quality. Passive screen time, things like watching TV or scrolling through your Instagram feed, is usually associated with the negative stuff, like depression, moodiness, anxiety, and even laziness. Active screen time, stuff that engages you physically or cognitively, can actually be helpful. Screens also allow us to stay connected with people. With technology like FaceTime, I could talk to my best friends on the other side of the country right now. Now, sure, some people have to deal with feeling overwhelmed because of drama or feeling pressure to only post a highlight reel of themselves to make them look good to others. But in many studies, a majority of teens say that social media mainly helps the relationships they already have with their friends. And almost 60% have met a new friend, like me. I just recently visited a homie in Canada who I've known online for like 7 years, so that was pretty awesome. Shout out to Shannon. And when you look at stuff like multiplayer video games, Twitch streams, or Reddit, wandering around online allows you to find your tribe. If you don't quite fit in where you live or you live in a small or isolated community, quality screen time might be essential to keeping you sane. So, what do you think? What screen activities do you value? And what do you want to cut out? Let us know in the comments below.
All right, so before we do anything else, like, what are your thoughts? What are your just general impressions of the video? Like, was it good? Was it informative? Did it entertain you? Who wants to go? Go ahead, Iona.
I mean, my thoughts are that it was pretty entertaining with, like, for example, the pace that he talked at was fast enough to keep the video engaging without being too fast. He showed visuals and the like. He made a few jokes on occasion, which all kept it rather entertaining. And then I also think that it did a good job of showing I mean, granted, it does feel like there's a bit of bias in his tone, but it did a good job of, at the very least, showing both sides, even if he didn't agree with both sides, or even if he gave his opinion. It did a good job of at least showing more information than just one kind, whether it was positive or negative.
Very good. Anyone else want to bring up any information? Your thoughts, opinions? No? All right. How about, did he cite relevant information? Did he cite relevant information? Did he show you where he got his information from? No? I see a lot of people going like this. All right, so for your presentation, so check it out. All right, so you should include a bibliography page or a works cited page. But as you're going through, like, so one of the, minute 210 here. So if you look at, as the video progressed, at different places when he was talking about a specific study, he put where his information came from right down at the bottom. You should do that as well, okay? Does everyone, so like, and if you look, he did that at several different places. So for example, right here, he cited where he got that information from. And so you should include this in your presentation, okay? So as you're doing your presentation, make sure you're telling people where you got the information from. And so always be careful of like any video that just tells you things without showing you the source of that information, okay? Because like if you don't know where that information comes from, you don't know if it's just being made up, all right? Does anyone else want to share any thoughts about the video? No? All right, so check it out. Let's go back to this. All right. Does the creator describe a problem or question to be tested by scientific explanation? So like, what do you guys think? Does the presenter do that? All right, just go like this or go like that. So do this for me, like, or no? Okay, when does he do it? I appreciate you offering, but someone besides Iona, I want to get more of you guys to kind of talk. No one? I know it's talking online doesn't help. Check it out. What I really want to point out is he does it within the first 10 seconds. So just like, I'm just going to quickly play the first 10 seconds and listen to how fast he states the problem.
Have you ever kept track of how much time you spend looking at a screen? Like actually logged what you're doing and for how long? Well,
so notice within the first 10 seconds, he tells you exactly what he's going to do, what the presentation is going to be on, okay? So like, that's your presentation. So, and does the creator describe a problem or question to be tested? He does it within the first 10 seconds. So if we go back over to just the, our grading rubric for how you're going to be graded on starting on Monday, describe a problem or question to be tested. That's, he states it right up front, okay? And you should also include in there how sufficient or relevant data, like in this case, you don't have to go into the specifics of the how the evidence was collected, but this is part of citing the evidence, okay? So this is part of like presenting the information that you guys have found for your presentation. And then one last question. Now, just this last one, the point that I want to kind of put forward is, was this organized and accurately explained? That's what you're going to be doing with criterion C. Does your presentation follow a nice logical order and present information in a way that supports whatever your problem or your statement is, and then also provides evidence that supports what your statement is, and then you can also provide evidence or that casts a doubt or draws into question what your statement is. That's a perfectly valid and appropriate thing to do. All right. So my question for you guys is, do you have any questions on what is due on Monday? No? All right, so here's going to be the order of operations for Monday. Starting right from the beginning of class, um, I'm going to ask, well, if you are doing if you're presenting, all right, if you're not making a video, so if you're going to do, if you're going to like, if you have a slide presentation, what I would like you to do is to email me. I'm going to give you some time in a few minutes. I want you to just email me and let me know that you are doing a slide presentation. Okay. So, you'll do that right away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create just like an order of who's going to go first. That way on Monday, like when we're in class, we can just go 1, 2, 3, 4 and get everyone who needs to do a slide presentation in person. We'll do all of them first. And then what we'll do is whoever's, go ahead, Avery. Yeah.
What happens if you're recording yourself during the slides? Does that count as a video or does that count as a slideshow?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So if you can, if it's pre-recorded, so like if you record yourself presenting it, yeah, that would be more like a video presentation, and that we can do. Um, I want to save those for if we run over time. That way, on Friday next week, any presentation that hasn't been presented, we can just play those online and do the same thing. Yeah. Go ahead, Iona.
Right. So just to sort of reiterate what you said there, anyone who's doing an in-person presentation is supposed to send you an email informing you.
Yeah, just let me know so that I can create just like a list. That way, like on Monday, I'm not just asking for volunteers. I know in advance. That way we can just be efficient and no one has to worry because you'll know when you're going or when you're presenting. Now, if you're presenting with a video, it is still due on Monday. You still need to share with me your slide presentation and your video. So like if you do just a slide presentation, share that with me. If you do a video, share the video with me. Remember, it's due on Monday. So like you need to give it to me before class, okay? All right. Let me ask you a question. When is it due? Hold on. Let me see. Nati. Did I say it right? No. Did you have a
Sure,
question?
sir. It's okay.
Did you have a question?
Yes. So do we only send you like our video or our slides, or do we also send you like our research documents? And
I don't need the documents. If you at the thank you for asking that question. At the very last slide. So if you're doing like a slide, make just the very last slide, just where you got the information. So your works cited. If you're doing just a video presentation, just make that like the last like 5 seconds, okay, of the video. Does that make sense to everyone? So like you don't need to send me both a slide presentation and like, you know, links to all of the different resources that you have. Just include that in like a slide, make it nice and easy. All right.
And if I make like a video of like me presenting my slides, do I need to share my slides with you too?
No, yeah, so like it's just one or the other. So if you're just going to be presenting in person, just the slides, that way I can have one computer, well, if that way I can have my computer set up in case anyone needs like a computer, in case you don't bring your computer, or in case there is a, like, in case your computer has like a problem, like that's why I'll have mine ready to go so that you can use the data projector. Okay. Any other questions? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'd like to put you guys into breakout rooms so that you guys can share it with each other. Like you can remember on Monday we did the critiquing, the feedback, so that you guys can continue to do that. Or if you have any more research that you need to collect before Monday, so that you're all prepared. Okay. So I figure let me just. So I'm going to just I'll stop recording here.